Do you believe this stuff that's coming out of your mouth? There's no way you do.
This was a credit card cuckold.
Love wins out in the end, you know?
All right, everybody, welcome back. Casey on Tap. This is Thursday, December the 19th of the year 2024. We're just a week away from Christmas. Jamma J. Taylor, 92 Zoo, coming at you. Top 10 at 10. That never gets old, Doug. And for some reason, it is, right? I mean, if you're from Lima, it's going to bring you back.
That's fantastic.
Sean Bratton, the afternoon drive, Sean Bratton. Here comes Sly Fox, Let's Go All the Way, followed by Loverboy, Working for the Weekend. But first, this commercial from Jeff Tracy and Tracy's Appliances. All right. What's up, Douglas? Are you ready for Christmas, brother?
I am. I'm ready for Christmas. I got all kinds of stuff going on. I got a birthday this weekend. I got the Browns-Bengals game on Sunday. Christmas next week. I mean, it's all kinds of stuff going on.
But does it feel? I was out tonight. I taught a couple classes at Title Boxing Club Highland Heights, and then afterwards I had to run to the grocery store for a couple things. I'm not sure if I'm feeling like my neighborhood. The houses are all decked out, but does it feel? Are we is it feel Christmassy yet? I'm asking you. I'm not sure if it feels Christmassy yet. I don't usually. It does.
I'm getting a little. I mean, maybe I got 3 kids running around. That might help to it. Feels Christmassy. I mean, where you've at and you've had that snow up there. I'm kind of surprised to hear that. We haven't had any snow down here.
Well, it's warm here now. Now it's all melted and warm and muddy and wet. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. But usually it feels like I don't know. I'm not sure if it feels. I don't hear the guys ringing the bells out there. When you walk into stores, they got the guys dressed as Santa Claus
Salvation
asking
Army.
you for money. Yeah. Usually by now I'm like, oh my God, make it stop. I'm not sure if I've heard one.
Wow, sad.
Well, look, I got great news though. We have a lot to cover tonight. Obviously, I mean, we're going into the Christmas holiday. We're talking bowl season. We're talking college football playoff. We're talking the beer mile with Dom. We got to talk about this. Our boy Dom, I'm not sure if he's getting it. So we've got the mailbag, we've got Ohio State, Tennessee, fan feedback, all that stuff. However, I thought you'd enjoy this because you're a man that takes pride in, being right. Something tells me if there was like a holiday family get together and there was a trivia contest or a game, you'd feel really like you'd want to. Right. Getting into the spirit of Christmas, Douglas, I have used ChatGTP to look up 50 iconic quotes or lines from Christmas movies all time. Wow. And I thought that I would provide some for you and folks enjoying Casey on Tap with us at home, sipping on a little eggnog. Perhaps you can do this with us at home. Remember, me reading these, they seem a lot easier than what they would be.
Yeah. I've got friends who, such as Dom, the VP of Hype, Jason Stolley, who are born for this kind of challenge. So we'll see how I do. I know they'll be. All
right. Well, if Jason's listening, if Dom's listening, try not to cheat.
Let's hear it.
You either get them right or you don't. So let's get into the festive holidays. What do you think, Doug? Let's start off with some quotes from Christmas movies. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do it.
Are you down? Okay. You know what? Let's warm you up here. Let's warm you up like a Yuletide and like a little fireplace next to the Christmas tree. I'm going to warm you up here with some softballs. Fragile must be Italian. It's the line.
Fragile must be Italian.
Oh, Mike, we're off for a bad start if you don't know this. Everyone knows this one. He gets the package. He reads the word fragile. He goes, fragile must be Italian.
Christmas Vacation. Christmas Story, excuse me. I mispronounced that. Christmas Story. Edit that.
Well, I don't have to edit it because I didn't give you. No, you got it right. You got it right. I didn't react.
I know.
You
I
misspoke. Christmas Story.
Those are 2 distinct different movies.
I know, but you caught yourself. This isn't, we're not in jeopardy, it's fine. But yeah, when he gets
that's right. Yep.
When he gets his
the lamp. That's the lamp. The beautiful leg.
Fragile. All right. Shitter's full.
Christmas Vacation.
Buddy the Elf. What's your favorite color?
Is that from Elf?
Yes, it is. A nice, easy. It's kind of like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. The first few are very simple. Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Come on, baby. Home Alone. Let's go.
We also would have accepted Home Alone 2. It's not what's under the tree that matters. It's who's around it.
Ooh, Santa Claus.
Ooh, sorry. Charlie Brown, the Charlie Brown Christmas special. That's what Charlie Brown and Snoopy. It's not what's under the tree. It's who's around it. And they sing and you knew that one. Every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings. Every time a bell rings, an angel gets his wings.
Wow. I got to go back to old school here. It's a Wonderful Life?
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
Good one. Yeah. Good one.
It's a Wonderful Life. That's my mother's favorite movie.
I was just going to give you the hint that it's an older movie, and it is argued vehemently by some to be the all-time best Christmas movie of all time.
Yeah, that's my mother's movie right there.
I have never seen it.
Really?
I've never seen It's a Wonderful Life.
I've seen it, and
Jimmy Stewart, right? Black and white, Jimmy Stewart. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I think you need to be from that era. I'd much rather watch Elf.
God bless us, everyone.
God bless us, everyone. That's a little kid saying that.
Another classic.
God bless us, everyone.
Yeah, it is a little kid. As a matter of fact, the kid's name is Tim. Tiny Tim.
Christmas Carol.
Yes.
That's right.
Little curveball at you. All right, let's do a few more here. You'll shoot your eye out.
I'm just
trying. Hey,
that's a great one. I mean, come on. Yeah. You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
What was it? The Red Roger BB gun or whatever he wanted. What was the
rifle? Something just. Yeah.
Oh, this is a good one. We're kicking off our fun, old-fashioned family Christmas by heading out into the country in the old front-wheel drive sleigh to embrace the frosty majesty of the winter landscape.
Well, clearly Santa speaking. I mean, let's see.
No, that's not. It's not very. Let me read it again. We're kicking off our fun, old-fashioned family Christmas by heading out into the country in the old front-wheel drive sleigh to embrace.
I think is this Frosty the Snowman?
The frosty majesty of the winter landscape.
Is it Frosty the Snowman?
The character who says that, its name is Clark Griswold.
Yeah.
In the beginning of the
movie.
I
was thinking it was that guy that wears the cap that's always in the Frosty the Snowman hats.
Mm-hmm. And again, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you out there enjoying at home, it's always a lot easier when you're not on the spot. Douglas is on the spot right now.
Well, you threw in Frosty in there, threw me. That was a tough one. I mean, obviously, I remember Clark saying it now that you said that, but that's okay.
Mm-hmm. I got two more for you. Now I've got a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho. And this goes into one of the fiercest debates of what a Christmas movie is.
Yeah, so this is Pulp Fiction, and that is whether or not it's actually a Christmas movie or not.
Ooh, sorry. No, Die Hard, son. Die Hard. Pulp Fiction. Wow. All right, well, I'll give you one.
Die Hard.
We're going to end on that one. I'll give you. No, it's not going to be edited. It happens.
I meant Die Hard.
The last one, and then we'll move on to fan feedback. You stink. You smell like beef and cheese. You don't smell like Santa Claus. It may be one that we've already said. It can be from.
Yeah, this sounds like Christmas Story. They're in the mall. It comes up. You stink. You smell like beef and cheese. I would say Christmas Story.
Ooh, Elf.
Yeah.
Elf.
Okay, yeah.
But it was
very similar. Very similar. That's right. The Santa, they're at the mall. They come in line. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had the right scene, just the wrong movie there.
Good stuff, Douglas. You did good there. All right, everybody, welcome back. Casey on Tap. This is Thursday, December the 19th of the year 2024. We're just a week away from Christmas. Fan feedback, ladies and gentlemen. Brian G. from the 419 writes, the beer mile had better happen soon if you think Dom won't make it. The man will start training as soon as he hears the bet. I'll take Dom to finish and have another beer with him once completed. From Brian. Matthew from Virginia, and by Virginia we mean North Carolina. Casey, have you considered doing the beer mile with O'Doul's? You should dominate those young fools. You're right, Matthew. I mean, I've considered
it. Yeah.
Our conversation with Dom, which leads us right into that the other day, has me considering it much more seriously than I was, because Dom's text messaging with us the other day was
he's off the deep end here. He doesn't know what he's doing.
I mean, sad. Do I say sad? Was it sad? Like, I didn't know what to think of him. I mean, are his testicles gone? He's
backtracking? He's backtracking. Right. What we interpreted was, here's Bobby Carpenter doing his thing. Who wants to step up and try to match that or beat that? And
For
now Dom
you know
is
what? For context, let's tell the people. Actually, so what Dom said was he heard us. That's good context. He looked up the fact that Bobby Carpenter did it in 10 minutes. And we had said, not knowing that we thought 10 minutes was a reasonable time. So that's when we're talking the intense whining and just whining.
he wants at least 15 minutes.
Right.
Which honestly, that's probably what he needs to have a chance. But that's not the bet.
No,
that's not the challenge.
I was so disappointed. And then he's just going on and on about, and I'm like, Dom, like sack up and be like, hey, Bobby Carpenter he wasn't understanding the bet.
Right.
He was,
and the idea is not to beat a time. The idea is to go as fast as you can, without throwing up, doing the best you can.
And we have to provide a fair time so he's not walking, because we have to have a time. Because our wager with him is that I could puke 50 times and finish. That the point is, if any fluids come out. Remember the other day he was like, "Well, that wasn't the spirit of the." I go, "What are you talking about?"
Well, I'm fine giving him 12 minutes and him trying to bust his butt to do it. I don't think there's much chance.
Let's compromise. Let's go 13. We'll give him 13 minutes. I'm telling you right now, there's zero chance. And Brian G, God bless you. We love you. There's zero chance. So you'd have to drink a beer every 3 minutes. There's no way.
Yeah, you got to drink a beer.
Way.
Just drinking a beer every 3 minutes is not that easy. And then you got to run a mile while doing it.
Okay, we got to set this up. This would be a total debacle. We got to get this thing recorded. What a nightmare this would be. Oh, you know what we should do? New faces, new places. Because, we are growing like a freaking weed, like a fungi. So let's take a look here. 11 countries, 105 cities. How about Honolulu, Hawaii? How about Honolulu, Hawaii joining? Aloha, Raleigh, North Carolina, Hershey, Pennsylvania, Medina, Ohio, amongst the many, 105 cities, thousands and thousands across this great land of ours, this great globe. So Douglas, still rocking and rolling. All right. Where do you want to start?
I think we start talking about the college football playoffs.
Okay, we'll start with college football.
Here coming up
Friday night in South Bend.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be frigid. It's supposed to be frigid, Doug. High of 30, low of 15.
So we've got these 4 games coming up here. Now, people have to remember all these are played at the lower seeds home stadium.
Home stadium, yeah.
Different. So tomorrow night you've got Indiana, Notre Dame. I've seen that line at either 7 or 7.5. In this game, Notre Dame obviously has been playing very, very well lately. They're on a streak, but that schedule they have is so weak. Indiana did not play a very good schedule either, and obviously their one big game, they got trounced. So it's interesting. This game, I think, to me, of all 4 games, has the most variables. I could see Indiana winning by a touchdown. I could see Notre Dame winning by 20. But in this environment, the game being in Indiana, where the Hoosiers are going to be able to travel, a night game, cold temperatures.
In the state of Indiana, he means, folks, obviously.
Yes. The state of Indiana. I'm absolutely taking the underdog here with 7.5 points. I do think Notre Dame finds a way to win a close game, but it would not surprise me if Indiana wins. But 7.5 points, people. Come on. 7.5 points?
Okay.
Indiana's good. Indiana's very, very good. I'm taking the Hoosiers all day, plus 7.5.
All right. So what's interesting about these games is that there's no precedent of handicapping. It's the inaugural college football playoff. The eyes of the nation, everyone's watching this game. The weather, it's supposed to be snow and frigid. Douglas, I think you and I both are aligned here. Notre Dame is by far I despise Notre Dame football. It just is what it is. I can't stand them. However, I'm trying to be fair here. Ever since that loss to Northern Illinois, have they played the toughest teams? No. Army was ranked. Navy was ranked. USC was on the schedule, but they've really looked good. Like they've blasted these teams, man. I would love to see Indiana cover that 7.5. I'm going to take Notre Dame minus 7.5. I hate it. I see Notre Dame winning this game by double digits. The second game, SMU at Penn State.
Here's another game where home field advantage is SMU has never faced an environment like this.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be a whole new thing. They're in this playoff. This is completely different. However, Penn State has been in this situation before, and they've laid dud after dud after dud.
True. It's true.
You are
It's
going
true.
to see
It's
you
true.
are going to see a common theme with my 4 plays. Okay,
It's
give
8.5.
me SMU and those beautiful 8.5 points all day long.
Okay.
I do think Penn State finds a way to win a close game. Just I see that fourth quarter coming down the end. The crowd's going to be going crazy. Penn State's got a very good running game. However, SMU does also. But I do see Penn State eking this game out, but I don't see them winning by more than 3 or 4 points. Give me SMU plus 8.5.
Another frigid weather forecast.
Yep.
High of 25 degrees. This
But at
one.
least they're playing in the middle of the day.
Yeah, they're playing at noon. Now, here's what's interesting. I have this written down, and I'm not kidding. This reminds me back in my wagering days. Every once in a while, I knew a thing or two about a thing or two. Every so often, there'd be a game where I would put 5, 6, 7, 8 times the units that I would normally. You and I talked offline about a couple of these back in the day. For whatever reason, I've actually done pretty well. It doesn't happen very often, but it's happening. It's happening Saturday at noon. I'm telling you right now that I am going on the record as saying that you could put 10 times. 10 times. You're in trouble right now behind a couple mortgage payments. You in deep with old knuckles. Let old case dig you out of it. You lay the 8.5 points and go to sleep. This is my play of the year. SMU, God bless this team. I love everything about them. I love the way they play. I love their quarterback. I love their unis. I love and I'm not a fan of Penn State either. This is going to be one of those they aren't ready for the moment games. They're not ready for this weather. And they are not going to be able to stop Penn State. Will SMU be able to score some? Maybe. I'm looking at like a 42-21 type of game here. I could not be any more emphatic about that's the one play that I actually like. So, all right. We're on opposite sides of the first 2 games. Game 3, Clemson and the Fighting Dabos against Texas and the Fighting Steve Sarkisians.
Yeah, so here's another game where, Clemson's season was over. They were out. They needed Miami to lose just to get into the championship game, and then they eked out that win over SMU in a thrilling final game. So here they are with nothing to lose. Dabo's coming in with weeks and weeks to prepare. Texas is coming off a really tough loss to Georgia. We know how talented Texas is. But we don't really know how Texas does in this kind of situation under this pressure. They're 1-1 against Georgia this year, who's been up and down. Listen, people, it's the playoffs.
They're 0-2. 0-2.
Excuse me, 0-2 against Georgia. They're only 2 losses of the year. There's no way in the world that I'm going to a football playoff game here and I'm not taking 12 points. I mean, give me Dabo and the 12 points. And don't be surprised if this game comes down to the final possession. 12 points. That's my 3rd straight underdog. Clemson.
We're in total agreement. Total agreement. I don't believe in Steve Sarkisian in these big moments. I think Quinn Ewers has been exposed in terms of if you can play some tight man coverage and get him a little flustered, he throws some bad footballs. Dabo's been there. I too would take the candy here. It's a lot of candy, 11.5. Dare I say sprinkle a tad on the plus 400 money line. There's going to be some upsets in this tournament. And I think Clemson is prime to upset the Horns in Texas. I think that's plus 400, 4-1 on your money. A little sprinkle there. Okay. Last but certainly not least, for all the marbles, Buckeye Nation. Josh Heupel and the Tennessee Volunteers, who, according to reports, have purchased 42%. Almost half of the shoe will be.
Speaking of that, before we get to this game, did you hear? So there's been a lot of crackdown in these games on these ticket sales. Did you hear what Notre Dame, the school, came out and said? Notre Dame told their students if they get caught selling their ticket, they will be banned from going to a game the following year.
I like it.
How about that?
I like it.
Yeah. There's some schools worried that their students are selling these tickets. Which hell, if I was a student, I could get that much money for a playoff game, I'd surely consider it.
That's the first. That's the first honorable thing Notre Dame's done in quite some time.
Anyways, here we go. We're in the shoe Saturday night. It's supposed to be about 25, 28 degrees. There's this black cloud hanging over Columbus right now. There's nerves. There's trepidation.
7.5, by the way, is the number.
7.5 points. What I see here, and I talked about this last week. I think Ohio State's clearly the better team. We're at home. We were the better team. We were at home against Michigan too. But we're playing a different style team here. We're going to be airing it out. I like Ohio State to win this game. However, 7.5 points is ridiculous. That I thought the line would be 6. To go over 7 is amazing. And the reason why is Ohio State could be winning this game convincingly. They could be up 2 touchdowns and still not cover. Tennessee could go down with a minute left and get a touchdown and cover the game. And it's not a big deal to anyone other than those that laid, the points. Ohio State absolutely can cover this line. I think there's a very good chance. This is one of those games where I probably won't bet it in real life, but if I had to bet it, I'm absolutely taking the 7.5 points.
Yeah.
And just simply because there's too many ways for Tennessee to cover that while still being the lesser team of the two. I think the nerves of Ohio State could keep this game tight for a while, and if it is tight for a while, those nerves start to creep in. I expect Ohio State to get off to a hot start, get up by 2 touchdowns, stay up around 10-14 most of the game, and then Tennessee scores late to cover that spread.
I will take the Ohio State Buckeyes and lay the points. People, prisoner of the moment, forget how nasty Ohio State's defense is. Tennessee has struggled to score points the second half of the season. They've struggled to score points. They've only scored 23 points a game in the SEC, which was a high-scoring league this year. I think they're going to blow doors. Night game. Shoe.
I hope you're right.
Yep. All right, there you go. Those are our 4 college football playoff picks. Before we switch gears, he was at work tonight, but our guest picker, we had to bring him back in, folks. Had to give him a chance to save face after his last 0-6 debacle. Ed Conley, Captain Cardinal, he's taking Clemson plus the 11.5, the Volunteers of Tennessee plus the 7.5, although in parentheses he says, obviously I want the Buckeyes to win, think they will win, but just like Douglas, closer than the experts predict. And the Hoosiers of Indiana plus 7.5. And in the National Football League, he has the Bengals and the Browns over 46.5. The Atlanta Falcons with Michael Penix minus 8.5. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers minus the 3.5. How about Ryan Day? If Ohio State loses.
I had this conversation today with a few guys, big Buckeye fans too, and we had opposing views on this. But everything you've read the last few weeks, I think the boosters become so overwhelming that he has to be let go. If he beats Tennessee, no matter what happens after that, I think he stays. I think he's just got to win one game. 2 weeks ago, right after the Michigan game, I said he's either got to win the Natty or he's done. I'm backing off that a little bit. Recruiting is still going as good as ever.
Right.
He is just loading up. And so I think if they beat Tennessee, and then they go up against Oregon, who's the number 1 team, and they say they lose a tough game to Oregon, I don't see how you can fire him. Really
how about Ohio State? The look-ahead line is Ohio State minus 2.5 against Oregon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's that game. Yeah,
what about Penn State? Do you know what the look-ahead line would be if Penn State, assuming they beat SMU, and then they would go out to Phoenix and play Boise in the Fiesta Bowl? Do you know what that look-ahead line is?
I would say Penn State would probably be a 6-point favorite over Boise.
11.5. How about that? That's
Boise. Yeah,
it's too much.
Boise
That's too many.
That's a lot. That's more than I thought, obviously, but I can see that 7-10 is probably where that line should be. But
yep. Okay. All right. Well, there you go. So, I mean, this is going to be an awesome weekend of college football. You want to talk NFL? You want to talk about?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got three plays for the people. We'll make it short and sweet.
Okay. Go ahead.
I haven't given NFL plays in a while, and I was on quite a run there. So let's just see what we can do here. I've got some plays for you on Sunday. Play number 1, a game I will be at, sitting in a beautiful suite. We've got our Browns-Bengals game that I go to every year.
Oh, the Bengals minus 8.5.
The Bengals minus 8.5. I look at that kind of like you look at Penn State against SMU. The Browns are rolling out our third-string quarterback, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, arguably the worst quarterback I've ever seen put on an NFL uniform. The Bengals, who still have hopes, they're starting to finally tick. I see this game being like 56-6. I mean, it is going to be an absolute massacre. 8.5 points. I mean, that line should be like 14. I'm so confused. That's ridiculous. Play number 1, the Bengals. Good God. Play number 2. And I'm going to give these are going to be 3 1 o'clock plays. So you can get in, get out quick. Play number 2, we're going to the AFC South. The Tennessee Titans are at the Colts. Titans made another quarterback switch back to Mason Rudolph. The Colts finally have about 3-4 games under the belt with Anthony Richardson. He's starting to play a lot better. They're in the playoffs right now. They've got a lot to play for. The Colts are playing some football right now. Tennessee, I don't have no idea what they're doing. They're out of the playoffs. They're benching their first-round draft pick from 2 years ago for some 40-year-old goofball. It's just bizarre.
Who's they benched that kid from Kentucky, but who's the quarterback now?
For Mason Rudolph.
Oh, Mason Rudolph. Okay. Jeez.
He started earlier in the year, and then they went back to Levis. Now they're going back to Rudolph. I mean, apparently they're trying to win games at 3-11. I have no idea, but give me the Colts minus 3.5. That's ridiculous.
Okay.
Play number 3. Play number 3, another 1 o'clock game. We've got the Rams of Los Angeles traveling to New York. New York's coming off a great win last week, but the Rams, another playoff team, fighting for seeding, fighting to stay in that playoff race. Their offense is hot. I know New York's offense has looked a little bit better the last 2 weeks, but let's face it, people, they're still 4-10. They still make you shake your head every other week. Like, how is this team doing this? The Rams at minus 3, that's bizarre. I don't understand. I thought that line would be closer to 4.5 to 6. Okay. So Rams minus 3.
There you go.
3 1 o'clock plays.
If you're, first of all, I'm on record as saying I think the NFL it's just the hardest thing to bet on in general. But if you're treading the waters, right now a lot of these teams, you don't know who's hurt, who's not hurt. These are tough waters here, folks. What about the Dallas Cowboys? You see what they're doing? They're out there playing. They're out there playing with pride. You slit their wrists and red, white, and blue pours out. They say, "No, you won't run us. You won't truck us. We have fifth stringers out here. We're underdogs against the Carolina Panthers. Shame the devil. Shame." And they let you and everybody else out there in the world. Hey, you don't know. You don't put the Dallas Cowboys were underdogs in Carolina. Bunch of yahoos.
I believe 4 weeks ago on the show, I believe we have you on record saying the Cowboys
I don't remember that. I don't remember that. All I know is they've got the fighting Baker Mayfield coming in, and the Buccaneers are only minus 3.5. You talk about money. You got to lay the wood on Tampa. You got to minus 3. Tampa's coming off. They just beat the Chargers 800-3. You see right here. This is the prison.
Dallas is good at home, man. Tampa struggles on the road.
Hey, there's my
Dallas
pick.
Is solid at home.
They're my 2 plays for you. You take Penn State and Tampa Bay. Hey, Daddy's got a new vacation planned for the family.
Christmas on Casey, baby.
Hey, your wife and kids be like, I didn't know we were going to the Bahamas. You'd be like, I didn't either, baby, till I listened to Casey on Tap. All right.
Christmas on Casey. I love it.
Let's do this, baby. Let's go to the mailbag, Douglas. What do you say?
Let's go to the mailbag. Let's do it.
And tonight, Douglas texted me and said he had a mailbag question sent to him. I should let you read it, Doug.
First one I've had emailed to me at my Casey on Tap email address. So that was pretty cool. Somebody must have got that off the website.
I was kind of hoping you wouldn't text it to me, that you would just read it on the show and I would get like the.
Oh, well, I listen, I was a little nervous. I didn't know if it was show worthy or if I needed approval or what you already had ready to go.
It's a great question. It's great. It's fantastic. Right, so go ahead, buddy. Go. Yeah.
Tiffany, age 43. 4 years removed from my one and only marriage. Dated, took some time off, now dating again. Met a man that I really like, good looking, smart, has all the potential. After talking for close to 2 weeks, we finally went on a date. Everything was going great until the food came. We went to a sports bar and ordered a pizza. As he began eating, he was using a fork and knife. I froze, but then continued on. The rest of the date continued to go well. And we've since been on a second date. But I simply cannot get over how he ate that pizza. Should I just cut my losses and end this? Or should I try to get over this conundrum?
Go ahead.
I gotta read the question and answer immediately. Well, I mean, I've thought about this a little bit since I got the question. Normally, when I'm in the mailbag, I don't get these questions until I'm live on the show. So here's my thoughts on this. I mean, I have a lot of questions. First of all, there are pizzas that are clean and easy to eat, And there are pizzas that are sloppy, have a lot of sauce. Cheese could be runny. Like, is it the big triangles? Is it small squares? Like, it's a first date type thing. What was he wearing? Was he afraid to get sauce on his shirt? I mean, I get that the fork and knife is a little weak, but I don't know the setting there. I guess if he was using the utensils and she wasn't, that's very weak as well. We've heard a lot worse on this show. I mean, the guy wanted to be clean. He wanted to stay clean for you. He wanted to be high and tight. I mean, let the guy. Now, listen, if you go on another date where there's food involved and he starts eating an ice cream cone with a spoon, well, then, okay, then let's figure that out at that point. But right now, I think you got to get over it. Okay, we all have little quirks that we don't like about other people. Let's not overreact here. Let's get over this and move on.
Tiffany, is that her name? Tiffany?
Yes.
Tiffany, here's what I love. I hope Doug gets more questions. I like being on the receiving end. I like to hear this question, and I'm going to give you the proper focus and attention because I hear you. You've come to the right place. So I love that you said he's got all the potential. I made me laugh when I heard that. I'd love to hear that list. We go on a date and we're eating pizza. So it doesn't come down to the cleanliness, right? This comes down to some people. Tiffany doesn't sound like an Italian name, but a lot of times my Italian, friends here in Cleveland, I mean, they've got like these rules. And I have heard about the rule where, it's a cardinal sin to eat the pizza with a fork and knife. I've heard of that. I've also heard it's a cardinal rule to have pineapple on your pizza, which would be a whole nother, right? I mean, I've heard that too.
Yep.
If I may say, Tiffany, I completely hear and understand and respect you being taken aback by this. However, if I may, I like a fork and knife with pizza when it's too hot. Understand? I like to be civilized. I do. Here's my bottom line advice. Usually little things like that become like the straw that broke the camel's back in relationships where things have been building and you're just not physically attracted anymore. And just all these, like little things you might have used to think were cute become things that aren't so cute anymore. And all of a sudden your boyfriend of 5 years or whatever it is starts eating pizza with a fork and knife and you go, that's it. You're a dipshit and I'm out. My recommendation is if it's brand new and he has potential, clearly it's, you're attracted to him. I say look past this one. I say look past it. I know it's hard. That's a great question, though. Great question. I say look past it. Of all the things in the world, if he's going to say, hey, would you rather have a guy sending dick pics via Snapchat, banging his secretary at work, or nibbling on some pizza with a fork and knife? I want you to think about that very, very hard, Tiffany.
Yeah, and what if he ate the pizza with his hand and then he had sauce all over
his face and fingers? Yeah,
that's a tough. First of all, that's a tough situation. I mean,
I said civilized. I said give me a nice fork. And another thing, I gotta tell you, if I'm on a first date, I'm gonna use the fork and knife because you want to be polite. Like you want to chew with your mouth closed. You want to keep it clean.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I was saying. Yeah.
All right. Well, Tiffany, hopefully that helps you. So good. That was a good one, Doug. All right. Question number 2. Christy, Indianapolis, Indiana. 35 years old. Husband and I, same age. We agreed on a $250 per child Christmas budget. We have 3 children. He blew it and has doubled it and spent $1,500 on 3 kids, and I want to divorce the motherfucker. Please help. So now this is something, as someone who doesn't have kids, I've often wondered, and I almost asked you when we were first talking in the podcast tonight about Christmas spirit. I am fascinated by when you have multiple kids and it's, Christmas gifts, do you have a budget per kid? I literally almost asked this question. It had nothing to do with this. And then,
well,
go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So my take on this is, I don't per se have a budget per kid because as kids get older, typically their gifts become more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
That's just natural. So for me, it's more about the amount of gifts per kid because a 6-year-old that gets 6 gifts is not equivalent to a 15-year-old that gets 6 gifts.
Gee, that's good insight.
The amount, the money is not even going to be close to equal, but the 6-year-old doesn't know any different. He just knows they both got 6 and he's fine.
Yeah.
So I'm more about the quantity as opposed to the amount. However, if they set a budget as a couple, as a family, and he spends, $750 more.
Yeah.
Now divorce is strong. I mean, it's not like he's.
I think she's being. I think she's being
going.
sarcastic. I know. I think she's being sarcastic,
Because,
but
he's not going out to a bar running up a $500 bar tab.
I think she's being sarcastic. But you get the gist. She's pissed. She's like, "What a jackass."
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because it sets a bad precedent. Once you set that precedent, the next Christmas, if you're back to $250 a kid, you're once you take that leap, it's very hard to go back without disappointing them. Because kids remember. I remember as a kid, I could remember.
Oh
every
yeah.
single year
Oh
what I
yeah.
got. And if all of a sudden I'm like, well, last year I got this, and now I got this. Like he's basically saying, okay, well, I'm going to be okay spending $1,500 every year moving forward. I mean, that's
I didn't think about that. That's another angle.
And if she didn't think about that, there's going to be two.
Well, no, I think that's why I think she did. I mean, she's pissed. And now you're actually open.
I hope I didn't just make her more pissed.
No.
That's
This is why you ask.
I mean, the reality is there's no going back at this point. They're doing this every year. I'd love to know the ages of their kids. These kids are really young. If these kids are like 7 and under, they're in for a rude awakening. They've got some $5,000 Christmases coming up here in about 3-4 years. When these kids start asking for PlayStation 5s and the new Kobe Bryant sneakers and all
right, so she's asking you. Okay, so we needed to help talk her off.
She has a right to be pissed. She absolutely has a right to be pissed. Divorce is a little too much. Maybe she can still take. There's still time to take some gifts back. I mean, it's only
what sort of penance does the man have to do to get back in the good graces with this young lady?
I would say compromise and at least take 1 or 2 of the gifts back. Compromise. they were at $250. He went to $500. Compromise. Go to $375. I mean, there's got to be something there. Something to make her feel a little bit better, like she won. But he obviously went and got them things that he thinks they're going to love. It's tough, but I feel her pain here. I feel
absolutely, Christy from Indy. Yeah, no, that was great.
This is more than just a one-time thing. That's the problem.
Great perspective right there with children. Now I'm just thinking about it in terms of whatever your husband's name is, which we don't have the name here, but bro, like turn this podcast on and let us talk to him for a second. Like, bro, you know better. Like, what are you doing? Like, even if you thought it was going to be, that was kind of funny. If that was going to be, I'm going to make it. I got that. But I mean, ultimately, you don't pull the rug out from the lady. What are you trying to do? I mean, you have to know that's a one-way ticket to the doghouse. You have to know that.
Yeah, bad move.
So here's what I think he has to do. I guess take presents back. Let's say somehow this went through. The only penance would be, you have to I imagine talking to your kids when they realize that Santa Claus isn't real. I imagine that's a tough talk. What this husband has to do is sit down with his kids and go, all right, kids, now look, you're going to learn a new word today. And the word is fucked. Daddy fucked up. Okay. We got to have a real strong talk here because old Santa's not coming back next year with the same gusto that he did this year.
Well, that's the problem. That can't happen.
I'm saying he has to get out in front of it and say,
no,
not only is there no Santa, let me break your hearts that way. But also, let me tell you that Daddy,
if you're willing to have that conversation, you just hide 2 or 3 of the gifts and you give them to him the following year if you don't want to take them back. You don't give them all. No, he's out. He made a bad decision here. What an idiot.
I'm sorry to laugh, but I can tell by how it's written that hey, Tiffany, this is what we're talking about. Tiffany, what kind of problems do you want? Do you want some guy that's eating like a proper gentleman? Or do you want it 5 years from now? Do you want this? Okay. That's what we're talking about. Oh man, what a great way to end the show. All right, Douglas, that was fun. Cool. Anything else? Anything before we go? That was good. That was funny.
No, I mean, I'm just, this is a big weekend. I'm excited for the Buckeyes. I'm nervous for the Buckeyes. And, listen, the game's on my birthday. They've got to win. They got to pull it out. They got to get it done. And I think they will. So I'm excited for it. So there you go.
Happy birthday, Douglas. Merry Christmas, everybody. Hopefully, to all of you, Santa Claus increases his budget an extra $250 for you as well. For Douglas William Wade, my name's Casey Wandell. Until next time, this is Casey on Tap, where anything goes. Take care.
Do you believe this stuff that's coming out of your mouth? There's no way you do it.
This was a credit card cuckold.
Love wins out in the end,